Up here is Main Street. Way back there is a railway station. Tracks go that way. Polish towns across the tracks and some Canuck families. Congregational churches over there. Presbyterians across the street. Methodist and Unitarian are over there. Baptist is in the hollow by the river. Catholic Church? They're across the tracks. Here's the town hall and post office combined. Jail is in the basement. Brian once made a speech from these very steps here. Along here is a row of stores. Hitching posts and horse blocks in front of them. First car is going to come along in about 5 years. Belonged to Banker Cartwright, our richest citizen. Lives in the big white house up on the hill there. Here's the drugstore, Mr. Morgan's drugstore. Most everybody manages to look into those two stores at least once a day. Here makes money. The car rides over and runs a fortune.
Children, no, I won't have it. Breakfast is just as good as any other meal, and I won't have you gobbling like wolves. It'll stunt your growth. That's a fact. Put away your book, Wally.
Oh, Ma, by 10 o'clock I gotta know all about Canada.
You know the rules as well as I do. No books at table. As for me, I'd rather have my children healthy than bright.
I'm both, Mommy. You know I am. I'm the brightest girl in school for my age. I have a wonderful memory.
Eat your breakfast.
I'm bright too, when I'm looking at my stamp collection.
I'll speak to your father about it when he gets his rest. Seems to me 25 cents a week's enough for a boy your age. I declare, I don't know how you spend it all.
Oh, Ma, I got a lot of things to buy.
Strawberry plastics. That's what you spend it on.
I don't see how Rebecca comes to have so much money.
She has more than $1.
I've been saving it up gradual.
Well, dear, I think it's a good thing to spend some every now and then.
Mom, do you know what I love most in the world?
Do you? Mud. Eat your breakfast. Myrtle, I have to tell you something, because if I don't tell somebody, I'll burst.
By Julia Gibbs.
Here, pass me some more of those beans. Myrtle, did one of those second-hand furniture men from Boston come to see you last Friday?
No?
Well, he called on me. At first I thought he was a patient waiting to see Dr. Gibbs. Then he wormed his way into my parlor. And Myrtle Webb, he offered me $350 for Grandmother Wentworth's highboy as I'm sitting here.
Julia Gibbs!
He did. That old thing. Why, it was so big I didn't know where to put it, and I almost gave it to cousin Hester Wilcox.
Well, you're gonna take it, aren't you?
I don't know.
You don't know? $350. What's come over you?
Well, if I could get the doctor to take the money and go away someplace on a real trip, I'd sell it like that.
Ah, yes. Anthropological data, early Amerindian stock, Cotahatchee tribes, no evidence before the 10th century of this era. Now entirely disappeared, possible trace in 3 families.
And the population! Professor!
Within town limits, 2,640.
Well, just a moment, Professor.
Ah, yes, indeed. The population at the moment is 2,640.
There's a great deal about the birds. We pay a lot of attention to them. And we watch the changing of the seasons. Yes, everybody knows about them. But those other things, you're right, ma'am. There ain't much. Robinson Crusoe and the Bible and Handel's Largo, we all know that. And Whistler's Mother. Those are just about as far as we go.
So I thought. Thank you, Mr. Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Now we'll go back to the town.
Emily, you are silly. Who do you think you are today?
Poppy, you're terrible. One minute you tell me to stand up straight, and the next minute you call me names. I just don't listen to you.
Golly, I never got a kiss from such a great lady before.
Oh, excuse me, Mrs. Forrest.
Go out and play in the field, young man. You've got no business playing baseball on Main Street.
Awfully sorry, Mrs. Forrest.
Hello, Emily.
Hello?
You made a fine speech in class.
Well, I was really ready to make a speech about Monroe Doctrine, but at the last minute, this court made me talk about the Louisiana Purchase instead. I worked an awful long time on both of them.
Gee, it's funny, Emily. From my window up there, I can see your head nights when you're doing homework over in your room.
Why can you?
You certainly do stick to it, Emily. I don't see how you could sit still that long. I guess you like school.
Well, I always feel something you have to go through.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, really. It passes the time.
Yeah. Emily, what do you think? we might work out a kind of telegraph between your window and mine, and once in a while you could give me a kind of hint or two on one of those algebra problems. I don't mean the answers! Of course not, Emily. You know, just a little hint.
Oh. I think hints are allowed. So, if you get stuck, George, you whistle to me, and I'll give you some hints.
Emily, you're just naturally bright, I guess.
I figure it's just the way a person's born.
Yeah, but you see, I want to be a farmer. And my Uncle Luke says that whenever I'm ready, I can go over and work on his farm. And if I'm any good, I could just gradually have it.
You mean the house and everything?
Yeah, well, thanks. I better be getting over to the baby farm here. Thanks for the talk, Emily. Good afternoon, Mrs. Webb.
Good afternoon, George.
So long, Emily.
So long, George.
Emily, come and help me string these beans through the winter. George Gibbs let himself have a real conversation now, didn't he? Why, he's growing old. How old would George be?
I don't know.
Let's see, he must be almost 16.
Mom, I made a speech in class today and I was very good.
You must have said it to your father at supper. What was it about?
The Louisiana Purchase. It was like silk off a spool. I'm going to make speeches all my life.
This is the way we were. In our growing up, and then our marrying, and then our living, and then our dying.
Dear everyone, music comes into the world to give pleasure. Softer! Softer! Get it out of your heads that music's only good when it's loud. You leave loudness to the Methodists. You can leave it if you want to. Now again, tenors.
Psst. Emily. Emily.
Hello.
Hello.
I can't work at all. Moonlight's so terrible.
Emily, did you get the third problem?
Which?
The third?
Why, yes, George. That's the easiest of them all.
I don't see it. Could you give me a hint?
I'll tell you one thing. The answer's in yards.
Yards? How do you mean?
In square yards.
In square yards.
Yes, George. Don't you see?
Yeah.
In square yards of wallpaper.
Wallpaper. Oh, I see. Thanks a lot, Emily.
You're welcome. My, isn't moonlight terrible? And choir practice going on. I think if you hold your breath, you can hear the train all the way to Contuco. Hear it?
Mm-hmm. What do you know?
Well, I guess I better go back and try to work.
Good night, Emily. And thanks.
Good night, George.
Jane Crowfoot got from her minister when she was sick. He wrote Jane a letter, and on the envelope the address was like this. It said Jane Crowfoot, the Crowfoot Farm, Grover's Corners, Sutton County, New Hampshire, United States.
What's so funny about
but
that?
Listen, it's not finished. United States of America, continent of North America, Western Hemisphere, the Earth, the solar system, the universe, the mind of God. Well, that's what it said on the envelope.
What do you know?
The first act was called The Daily Life. This act is called Love and Marriage. There's another act coming after this one. I reckon you could guess what that's about. So, it's 3 years later. It's 1904. It's July 7th, just after high school commencement. This is the time when most of our young people jump up and get married. As soon as they've passed their last examinations in solid geometry and Cicero's orations, suddenly they feel themselves fit to be married. It's early morning. Only this time it's been raining. It's been pouring and thundering. Mrs. Gibbs' garden and Mrs. Webb's here, drenched. All those bean poles and pea vines, drenched. All day yesterday, the rain looked like curtains being blown along on Main Street. It may begin again any minute. There, you came into 5:45 from Boston. Oh, there's Mrs. Gibbs and Mrs. Webb. Come downstairs to make breakfast, just as though it were an ordinary day. I don't have to tell the women in my audience that those ladies they see before them, both of those ladies cook 3 meals a day. One of them for 20 years, the other for 40, and no summer vacation. Brought up 2 children apiece, washed and cleaned house, and not to a nervous breakdown. It's like what one of those Middle West poets said. You've got to love life to have life. And you've got to have life to love life. It's what they call a vicious circle.
Giddy up, Bessie.
Here comes Howie Newsom delivering the milk. And there's that crowd delivering the papers like his brother before him.
Morning, Howie.
Morning, Si. Anything in the papers I ought to know about?
Nothing much, except we're losing about the best baseball pitcher Grover's Corners ever had. George Gibbs.
Reckon he is.
He could hit and run bases too.
Yup. Mighty fine ball player. Whoa, Bessie. I guess I can stop and talk if I have a mind to.
I don't see how you could give up a thing like that just to get married. Would you, Howie?
Can't tell, Si. Never had no talent.
Start raining again, Mr. Newsom?
Well, just saying to Miss Gibbs is how it may lighten up. Miss Newsom told me to tell you that we both hope they'll be very happy, Miss Webb. No, they will.
Thank you, and thank Mrs. Newsom. We're counting on seeing you at the wedding.
Yes, we hope to get there. Couldn't miss that. Come on, Bessie.
They're too young. Emily won't think of such things. He'll catch his death of a cold within a week.
I was remembering my wedding day, Julia.
Don't start that, Frank Gibbs.
I was scared I son fell in the state of New Hampshire. I thought I'd make a mistake for sure. I saw you walking down the aisle. I thought you were the prettiest girl I'd ever seen. The trouble was, I'd never seen you before. There was in a congregational church, we were a total stranger.
How do you think I felt? Frank, weddings are perfectly awful things. Farces, that's what they are. Here, I made you something.
Julia Hersey, French toast.
Tain't hard to make, and I had to do something.
Good morning, everyone. Only 5 more hours to live.
George Gibbs. Where do you think you're going?
Just stepping across the grass to see my girl.
George, it's raining torrents. You put on your overshoes. You won't go out of this house without you're prepared for it.
Ma, it's just a step.
You catch your death of a cold and cough all through the service.
George, do as your mother tells you.
From tomorrow on, you can kill yourself in all weathers. But while you're in my house, you'll live life. Thank you.
Admit it, out of the wet, but you know I can't ask you in.
Why not?
George, you know as well as I do, the groom can't see the bride and lay the church until he sees her in the church.
Oh, that's just a superstition. Good morning, Mr. Webb.
Good morning, George.
Mr. Webb, you don't believe in that superstition, do you?
There's a lot of common sense in some superstitions, George.
Millions have followed it, George, and you don't want to be the first to fly in the face of custom.
How is Emily?
She hasn't waked up yet. I'm her sound at her.
Emily's asleep?
No wonder. We're up till all hours sewing and packing. I will tell you what I'll do. You sit down here a minute, Mr. Webb, and drink this cup of coffee. I'll go upstairs and see if she doesn't come down and surprise you. There's some bacon too, but don't be long about it.
Well, George, how are you?
Fine. Fine. Mr. Webb, what sense could there be in a superstition like that?
Well, you see, on her wedding morning, a girl's head's apt to be full of clothes and one thing and another. Don't you think that's probably it?
Yeah, I never thought of that.
A girl's apt to be on my nervous on her wedding day.
I wish a fella could get married without all the marching up and down.
Every man that's ever lived has felt that way about it, George, but it hasn't been any use. It's the women who have built up weddings, my boy. For a while now, the women have it all their own. Man looks pretty small at a wedding, George. All those good women, standing shoulder to shoulder, making sure the knot's tied in a mighty public way.
But you believe in it, don't you, Mr. Webb?
Oh, yes, don't you misunderstand me, my boy. Marriage is a wonderful thing, wonderful thing. And don't you forget that, George.
No, sir. Mr. Webb, how old were you when you were married?
Well, you see, I'd been away to college, and I'd taken a little time to get settled. But Mrs. Webb, she wasn't much older than when Emily got married. Oh, age hasn't much to do with it, George. Not compared with, other things.
What were you going to say, Mr. Webb?
Oh, I don't know. Was I going to say something? George, I was thinking the other night about some advice my father gave me when I got married. Charles, he said. Charles, start out early showing who's boss, he said. Best thing to do is to give an order, even if it don't make sense, he said. And he said, if anything about your wife irritates you, a conversation or anything, just get up and leave the house. That'll make it clear to her, he said. And oh yes, he said, never let your wife know how much money you have. Never.
Mr. Webb, I don't think I could...
So I took the opposite of my father's advice, and I've been happy ever since. Let that be a lesson to you, George. Never to ask advice on personal matters.
Why, Emily Webb, what have you been crying about?
She just had an awful scare is all, Mr. Morgan. She almost got run over by that hardware store wagon. Everyone says that Tom Huggins drives like a crazy person.
Well, you take a drink of water, Emily. You look all shook up. I tell you, you've got to look both ways before you cross Main Street these days. It gets worse every year. What do you have?
Strawberry phosphate. Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
No, Emily. Have an ice cream soda with me. 2 strawberry ice cream sodas, Mr. Morgan.
2 strawberry ice cream sodas, yes sir, yes sir. There are 125 horses in Grover's Corners. This minute I'm talking to you. State inspector was in here yesterday, and now they're bringing in these automobiles. I tell you, the best thing to do is just to stay home. Why, I remember when a dog could go to sleep all day on Main Street and nothing come along to disturb him. Well, there they are. Enjoy them. Yes, Mrs. Ellis, what can I do for you?
They're so expensive.
No, don't you think of that. We're celebrating our election. And then, do you know what else I'm celebrating?
No.
I'm celebrating because I've got a friend who tells me all the things that ought to be told me.
George, please don't think of that. I don't know why I said it. It's not true. You're...
No, Emily, you stick to it. I'm glad you spoke to me like you did. But you'll see. I'm going to change so quick. You bet I'm going to change. And Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
What?
Emily, if I go to State Agricultural College next year, will you write me a letter once in a while?
I certainly will. I certainly will, George.
That fault in my character. What you said was right, but there was one thing wrong in it. And that's when you said that for a year I wasn't noticing people, and you, for instance, why, you say you were watching me when I did everything when I was doing the same about you all the time. Why, sure, I always thought of you as one of the chief people I thought about. I always made sure where you were sitting on the bleachers and who you were with, and for 3 days now, I've been trying to walk home with you, but something's always gotten in the way. But yesterday, I was standing over against the wall waiting for you, and you walked home with Mrs. Corcoran.
George, that's so funny. How could I have known that? Why,
Emily, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to agricultural school. I believe that when you found someone you're very fond of, someone who's fond of you too, and likes you enough to care about your character, I think that's just as important as college is, and even more so. That's what I think.
I think it's awfully important too.
Emily.
Yes, George?
Emily, if I do improve and make a big change, would you be, could you be?
I am now. I always have been.
So I guess this is an important talk we've been having.
Yes. Yes.
Wait just a minute and I'll walk you home.
George! Yow! Look at him, fellas! He was scared to death! Yow! George, don't look so innocent, you old geezer. We know what you're thinking. Don't disgrace the team, big boy.
All right, that's enough of that. There used to be an awful lot of that sort of thing at weddings in the old days. Roman later, we're more civilized now. So they say.
George, what's the matter?
Ma, I don't want to grow old. Why is everyone pushing me so?
Why, George, you wanted it.
No, Ma, listen to me.
No, George, you're a man now.
Listen, Ma, for the last time I ask you, I just want to be a fellow.
George, if anybody should hear you, now stop. I'm ashamed of you.
What? Where's Emily?
George, you gave me such a turn.
Cheer up, Ma. I'm getting married.
Let me catch my breath a minute.
Now, Ma, you save Thursday nights. Emily and I are coming to dinner every Thursday night. You'll see. Ma, what are you crying for? Come on, we gotta get ready for this.
I never felt so alone in my whole life. And George over there looking so... I hate him. I wish I were dead. Papa. I'll work for you. I can keep house.
You mustn't think about such things. You're just nervous. George? George, will you come here a minute?
Marrying the finest young fellow in the world. George is a fine fellow.
Papa!
I'm giving away my daughter, George. You think you can take care of her?
Mr. Webb, I want to try. I'm gonna do the best that I can. I love you, Emily. I need you.
Well, if you love me, help me. All I want is someone to love me.
I will, Emily. Emily, I'll try.
I mean forever, do you hear me? Forever and ever.
God.
George, you take this woman, Emily, to be your wedding wife. To have
Perfectly lovely wedding. Loveliest wedding I ever saw. Oh, I do love a good wedding, don't you? Doesn't she make a lovely bride?
I do.
You, Emily, take this man, George, to be your wedding husband. To have
I don't know when I've seen such a lovely wedding. But I always cry. I don't know why it is, but I always cry. I just like to see young people happy, don't you? Oh, I think it's lovely.
I've married over 200 couples in my day. Do I believe in it? I don't know. Anne marries Anne, millions of them. The cottage, the go-kart, the Sunday afternoon drive in the Ford, the rheumatism, the grandchildren, the second rheumatism, the deathbed, the reading of the will. Once in 1,000 times is interesting. Well, let's have Mendelssohn's Wedding March.
Oh, I've never been to such a nice wedding before. I'm sure they'll be happy. You know, I always say happiness. That's the great thing. The important thing is to be happy.
That's all the second act, folks. 10 minutes intermission. And there, quite a ways down, is Grover's Corners. Yes, beautiful spot up here. Mountain laurel and lilac. I often wonder why people like to be buried in Woodlawn in Brooklyn, when they might spend the same time up here in New Hampshire. Over there are the old stones. 1670, 1680. Strong-minded people that came a long way to be independent. Summer people walk around there laughing at the funny words on the tombstones. They don't do any harm. And genealogists come up from Boston, get paid by city people for looking up their ancestors. They want to make sure they're daughters of the American Revolution and of the Mayflower. Well, I guess that don't do any harm either. Whenever you come near the human race, there's always layers and layers of nonsense. Over there are the Civil War veterans. Iron flags on their graves. New Hampshire boys had a notion that the Union ought to be kept together, even though they hadn't seen more than 50 miles of it themselves. All they knew was the name, friends. The United States of America. Well, there are some living people. There's Joe Stoddard, undertaker, supervising a new made grave. And there's a Grover's Corners boy who left town to go out west.
Good afternoon, Joe Stoddard.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Let me see now. Do I know you?
I'm Sam Craig.
Gracious sakes alive, of all people. I should have known you back at the funeral. You've been away a long time, Sam.
Yes, I've been away over 12 years. I'm in business out in Buffalo now, Joe. I was in the East when I got news of my cousin's death, so I thought I'd combine things a little and come and see the old home. You look well.
Yes, yes, can't complain. Very sad journey today, Samuel.
Yes.
Yes, yes. I always say I hate to supervise when a young person is taken. They'll be here in a few minutes now. I had to come here early today. My son is supervising.
What did she die of, Julia? Childbirth. Childbirth. I must have forgotten all about that. Why, wasn't life awful? And wonderful?
Wonderful. Was it?
Simon, now remember. I remember Emily's wedding. Wasn't it a lovely wedding? And I remember her being the last home at graduation exercises. Emily was one of those first ever to graduate from high school. I heard
stressed or so. It seems thousands and thousands of years since I remembered that was my favorite hymn. Oh, I wish I'd been here a long time. I don't like being new here. But Mother Gibbs, one can go back. One can go back there again. Hymns for living. I feel it. I know it. Why, just then, for a moment, I was thinking about the farm, and for a minute, I was there. My baby was on my lap as plain as day.
Yes, of course you can.
I can go live all those days over again. Why not?
All I can say is, Emily, don't.
But it's true, isn't it? I can go and live back there again.
Yes, some have tried, but they soon come back here.
Don't do it, Emily.
Emily, don't.
It's not what you think it'd be.
But I won't live over a sad day. I'll choose a happy one. I'll choose a day I first knew that I loved George. Why should that be painful?
You not only live it, but you watch yourself living it.
Yes?
And as you do, you see the thing that day, down there, never know. You see the future. You know what's going to happen afterward.
Yes.
Your mother will be coming down in a minute to get breakfast.
Will she?
And you remember, your father had been away for a few days. He came back on the early morning train.
No.
He'd gone back to his college to make a speech. At Northern New York, at Clinton.
Look! There's Howie Newsom. There's our policeman. But he's dead. He died.
Whoa, Bessie! Bessie! Morning, Bill.
Morning, Howie.
You're up early?
Been rescuing a party darn near froze to death down by Polish Town there. Got drunk and lay out in the snowdrifts. Thought he was in bed when I showed up.
Why, there's Joe Crow.
Morning, Mr. Warren. Morning, Howie.
Children, time to get up. Wally, Emily.
Mama, I'm here. Oh, how young Mama looks. I didn't know Mama was ever that young.
You can come and dress by the kitchen fire if you like, but hurry. Good morning, Mr. Newsom. It's cold.
10 below by my barn, Miss Webb.
Think of it. Keep yourself wrapped up.
Mama, I can't find my blue hair ribbon anywhere.
Just open your eyes, dear, that's all. I laid it out for you special on the dresser there. If it were a snake, it would bite you.
Yes. Yes.
Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Mr. Webb. You're up early.
Yes, just back to the old college in New York State. Any trouble here?
Well, I was called up early this morning to rescue a Polish fellow. Darn near froze to death he was.
We must get it in the paper.
Twink much.
Papa.
Good morning, Mother.
How did it go, Charles?
Oh, fine, I guess. I told him a few things. Everything all right here?
Yes, can't think of anything's happened special. Been right cold. Howie Newsom's like it's 10 below over to his barn.
Yes, well, it's colder than that up at Hamilton College. Students' ears are falling off. It ain't Christian. Did they have any mistakes in it?
None that I noticed. Copies of it when you want it. Charles, don't forget, it's Emily's birthday today. Did you remember to get her something?
Yes, I got her something right here. Where's my girl?
Mama, just look at me 1 minute as though you really saw me. Mama, 14 years have gone by. I'm dead. You're a grandmother, Mama. I married George Gibbs, Mama. Wally's dead, too. Mama, his appendix burst on a camping trip to North Conway. We felt just terrible about it, don't you remember? But just for a moment now, we're all together. Mama, just for a moment, we're happy. Let's look at one another.
That and the yellow paper is something I found in the attic among your grandmother's things. You're old enough to wear it now, and I thought you'd like it.
And this is from you. My Mama, it's just lovely, and it's just what I wanted. It's beautiful.
Well, I hoped you'd like it. Hunted all over. Your Aunt Nora couldn't find one in Concord, so I had to send all the way to Boston. Wally has something for you, too. He made it in manual training class, and he's very proud of it. Be sure you make a big fuss about it. Your father has something for you, too. I don't know what it is myself. Shh, here he comes.
Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
I can't go on. Don't go so fast. We don't have time to look at one another. I didn't realize. So all that was going on and we never noticed. Take me back. Hill. My grave.
Scholars haven't settled the matter yet, but they seem to think that there are no living beings up there. Just chalk. Or fire. Only this one is straining away. straining away all the time to make something of itself. That strain is so bad that every 16 hours, everybody lies down and gets a rest. "11 o'clock in Grover's Corners. You get a good rest too. Good night."